Over the past few months, I've embarked on an epic quest to play through all of the Sims games, completing a rags to riches zero simoleon start and taking that character to new heights. And out of all of them, The Sims 2 was the game I was most excited for, mainly because I grew up playing it. Back in the day, we had one family computer in the living room, and while I was busy 100%ing Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the PS2, my sisters were hard at work collecting every expansion for The Sims 2. So today, I'm going to enter a massive nostalgia kick and revisit The Sims 2. Much like the other installments, I'll be starting with zero simoleons, with the goal of not just surviving, but thriving. Now this is the Ultimate Edition, but obviously some things will be excluded for the sake of the video, such as the University expansion, which coincidentally was my all-time favorite expansion. Real quick, I launched a new channel. It's called TGP Explains. It's down in the description or in the top right corner, maybe, I think, possibly, who knows. But all it is it's me going back and watching movies from when I was a kid or that I couldn't watch as a kid that I want to watch now, and TV shows and talking through them and explaining them, or just gushing over things like Napoleon Dynamite and Office Space or Smiling Friends, all fun things like that. So if that's interesting to you, go check it out. Alright, let's go. Anyway, I hate doing this, but it works, so if you're not subbed yet, you should totally get on that. I've got some other Sims projects coming up, such as my all-time favorite Sims game, The Sims 2 Castaway, The Sims 3, and a few more large-scale challenges on The Sims 4, so make sure you sub so you don't miss any of that. Meet the protagonist of today's story, Broke Man. He comes equipped with his own cowboy hat, likes swimwear and underwear, and dislikes fat people because, I don't know, maybe he's a scumbag. You come to your own conclusions. Wow, just look at that serious demeanor. He looks like someone who would drop his coworkers in a pool with no ladder just to get ahead. I like it. Now, due to Pleasant View's recent crackdowns on the homeless population, we've been shipped to the outskirts of town with the other bums where we won't bother anybody. Since there's nothing for me to do here at the moment, I just started traveling to other community lots to see what I could accomplish there. May we all be as carefree as this raging lunatic. There's a few stores that I could hang out at, so I hit that place up. I don't have any money, so I can't buy anything yet, but I can still use the bathrooms here to keep my bladder and hygiene up. There's also a grill outside, so all I had to do was wait around for someone to get bored and start cooking up some hot dogs. Once I got back home, I read the local newspaper and took a job as a medical technician, earning just under 300 simoleons per day. All I need to do now is wait until tomorrow morning. Luckily for me, Broke Man has this thing called free will. It doesn't exist in China yet, but in Pleasant View, it's a hot commodity. Because of this, he decided to get a head start on some early skill grinding and start jumping rope. If only he knew that this was the $0 start challenge and not the maxing all skills challenge. That's a different video for another time. Now, it was around this time that I received a gift from Mr. Humble. I have no idea who he is or how he found me, but he gifted me a computer, which I thought was pretty sweet. I just hope he doesn't expect anything in return. Now, because I think it'd be taking the easy way out, I'm not going to sell the computer. I'm going to save it and use it to help me get back on my feet later on. Right now, though, there's nothing to do but wait to go to work. So I spent most of my first day digging for treasure and catching butterflies. You know, your standard day-to-day stuff. This was dirty work though, so I headed back to those shops from earlier and just washed my hands until my entire body was clean. Sims logic. As it turns out, you don't need cash to grill hot dogs, so I can just eat here for free if I want. Granted, Broke Man literally burnt the buns, which I don't even know how that's possible, but alright. One thing I've noticed as well is that time resets when I go home. Like, it was late into the night before I went home, and now it's 6 p.m. After crashing on the floor, I remember that I had some treasures in my inventory to sell, netting me nearly 360 simoleons, which I used to purchase a bed. Once I was well rested, I sold the bed and purchased a wall and sink so that I could get my hygiene up before work, since no one likes the coworker who smells like piss and depression. In classic Sims fashion, I was docked my first day's pay for helping clean up a room. Lovely. But that didn't seem to get relayed to payroll, because I still walked away with 280 simoleons. One aspect that I really like with The Sims 2 is the fact that your hunger, bladder, and social needs all increase while you're at work. As it turns out, jumping on the couch in a random video game store is a great way to raise your fun and comfort. Look at how disapproving this poor worker is. She's just trying so hard to pretend like nothing's happening. She does not get paid enough to deal with this shit. To end the night, it was more hot dogs and casual chit-chat about the current geopolitical events. I also sold the sink and bought a better bed to sleep in. The best part about this is you can relax on the bed and just pull a random book out of your ass, so I read that until work, which maxed my fun. After getting home from my second day at work, I sold my bed and bought a shower and a chair so I could take care of my hygiene and finally use the computer for, internet things. In all seriousness, real quick, SSX3 fucking slapped. I've logged hundreds of hours in there, and I've never been snowboarding in my life. Just, the game is incredible. You can fucking punch people to max your speed boost meter. It's just such a cool game. Anyway, after getting in a solid gaming session, I checked the job postings and accepted a new position in the Marines, because if it's one thing they love, it's recruiting homeless degenerates into their ranks with promises of a V6 Camaro. To end the day, I was finally able to fill in the hole and busted pipe on my property. There's a Parks and Rec reference to be made there, but I can't think of it off the top of my head, so if you want to do some of the work for me, just comment one below and I'll pin my favorite. Oh, I also realized that if I sell the bed before midnight, then repurchase it, I have effectively 24 hours to resell it at full price. Apparently, the requirements for being promoted in the military are simply be alive, because Broke Man was promoted to Elite Commando on his very first day. All I need to do now is level up my mechanical and body skill, so I bought a bookshelf to work on mechanical, and can just f*** around with the jump rope to hit body level 1. By the next morning, we'd made some pretty significant upgrades. For starters, I have a toilet now, which means I'm no longer relying on shitting in the tank barrel at the military base. I also have a fridge, so I don't have to survive solely off of hot dogs. It's Friday too, and I'm off on Fridays, which means it's time to start a side hustle. Now, since this is the Ultimate Edition of The Sims 2, I have the Open for Business expansion, which means if I wanted to, I could start my own business from my plot of land, but I'll try that out later. For now, I just want to focus on a stable side gig, like writing shitty war novels about aliens. The only downside is this took the entire day, and I don't even know how much progress I've made. I did, however, bump my creativity skill up to level 4. After work the next day, Broke Man brought a lady friend home with him, eager to show her his impressive setup. Oh my god, she loves it. It's really cool to think that both of these characters have the same amount of talent as Caitlin Clark's teammates, considering they too struggled to catch basic passes. Anyway, I used these 6,000 aspiration points I'd acquired to purchase 2 money trees. Only for this son of a bitch to walk over and steal the cash right out from under me. The next morning, I spent some time studying cooking so that I can make other things besides just instant meals. 2 things here. 1. This man just got rewarded for stealing food at work. And 2, it's snowing now, like a lot. What a great quality of life this is. On the bright side, hypothermia doesn't exist in the Simsverse, so we don't have to worry about that while we're sleeping in a foot of snow. I love that Broke Man has basically just become Kip from Napoleon Dynamite. After spending several hours chatting with randoms on the internet, Broke Man finished his book and went to sleep. We're moving up in the world though. Now that I'm a drill instructor, I use the bonus along with some savings to build out a small studio house for myself. It's just one single room, but it's more than enough to fit all my necessities inside. Anyway, I spent the rest of the day working on my charisma since it's a requirement for my next promotion. As it turns out, the roofing is actually free too. If only they had these kind of handouts in The Sims 1. Much like every other Sims game, the overwhelming need to be social is my biggest detractor. I hate it, and I don't really even know why. I imagine for most people it's one of the highlights of the game, but for me, I just look at it as something preventing me from the grind. Who knows, maybe I'm just built different. After a night of sitting on MySpace, I used most of my savings to purchase an oven and made my first actual meal that wasn't instant or cereal. Somehow, we just keep managing to get promoted. This time, all Broke Man had to do was simply lend a book to his boss. The boss man was so thrilled over this that he promoted Brokeman on the spot to junior officer. Huh, a decorated government employee stealing from the working class. Where have I heard that before? How adorable. This reminds me of like elementary school gym class where you would compete to see who could do it the longest. I think we're a little past jump roping though, so I bought a stationary bike so that he can join all the other middle-aged moms in America who buy one with good intentions only to end up using it to throw laundry onto. Broke man was out here doing the poor man's Peloton before it was cool. You know, I'm starting to think that Brokeman is just John Wick with Oppenheimer intelligence. He received another promotion today after parachuting into the Capitol and saving the mayor from some rioters who were burning down the city. We're now in counterintelligence, which means we need to focus on our skills some more. It also means we brought home another fat bonus. Before we spend it though, if you're wondering how to get rid of that black box under your character's feet, go to settings, graphics, and set your shadows from high to medium. You're welcome. Alright, on to spending the bonus. Now I could have bought some cooler shit, but instead I opted for expanding the house some more. I didn't have enough cash to finish it, but I made a hallway opening into a bedroom and a bathroom, though the bathroom just has grass for flooring. Over the course of the night, I was able to level up fitness, but I still needed 2 mechanical skills and 1 charisma level. Luckily for Brokeman, he had a vacation day stored up. So I used that to continue grinding out the required skills so that I could continue failing upward. After completing the skill requirements, I spent the vacation pay and daily check on added flooring to the bathroom, windows to every room in the house, and painted the walls in both the bedroom and bathroom. I also replaced my bed, going from Comfort 1 Energy 2 to Comfort 3 Energy 3 and Environment 1. Alright, it's time to get real. Up until now, Brokeman has been the epitome of an upstanding citizen. He's picked himself up by his bootstraps, got a job, got a better paying job, and has been promoted several times. But now, for the low price of 28,000 aspiration points, and his goodwill with the community, we can now print counterfeit cash. All he's got to do is... in just a few short hours, we're able to pull in over 300 simoleons, meaning if we committed like, I don't know, half a day to this, we'd probably end up making more than we do by going to work every day. We'll keep it cool for now, because work has been incredibly rewarding for us. Like, take this for example, if I simply pull the old Nixon wiretap trick, I now get a 2,000 simoleon bonus. Pretty sweet, right? Now, normally, most people would invest that or throw it in their savings, but this is Brokeman we're talking about, and that's a lot of money for me, so I bought a truck. It's not to drive though. See, with the open for business expansion, we can start our own home business and quite literally sell things off of our plot of land. It's like Facebook Marketplace before it existed. Naturally, I'll be turning my plot of land into a knockoff used car dealership, selling me junk cars and trucks for about 25% above market price. Luckily, Broke has the day off today, so he can spend his time ripping people off. By the end of my first day running a business, I'd sold 2 trucks and a car. With the first day being a success, surely that's a sign of things to come, right? Well, as it turns out, maybe that was more of a fluke than anything. Of course, I say that and then Christy just shows up and buys another car, but I'm struggling on basic sales pitches at the moment, so I dropped the price of everything to just 5% above normal for now. Oh, also my computer broke, and I didn't want to risk anything with it, so I just sold it and bought a new one. As it turns out, maybe the best sales tactic I have is just not bothering the customer. I seem to sell much better when I don't intrude on them. Equipped with that knowledge, I restocked the cars after work and let them sell themselves. Since I can't man the shop while I'm at work, I hired my first employee to run the show while I'm not here. The only problem? Well, he no-showed on his first day, pissing off most of the clientele and leaving me with a -1 business rank. It wasn't all bad though, as Broke was promoted to flight officer, bringing home a substantial bonus along with new requirements. I'm off on the weekends though, which means I've got more time to work on my business. Now, much like owning a car wash, this business is more so a front to launder my counterfeit cash through. So as long as I can keep the customers coming in, they'd never suspect a high-ranking military leader of any malpractice. Alright, It took like 2 full days, but I finally figured it out. I needed to buy an open and close sign to bring my employees in for the day. You can also assign them to specific tasks like selling, restocking, running cashier, all that fun stuff. Of course, none of that matters when your employee quits on his second actual day of work though. In all honesty, this was more stressful than it needed to be, so after thinking about it for like, I don't know, 15 seconds, I made the decision to liquidate the company and move on into greater endeavors. And by that, I mean what every other blue-collar man would do in this situation. I bought an $800 shitbox car and got to work on fixing it up in my spare time. Not only is it a good hobby, but it also helps with my work, given that I need to constantly be leveling up my mechanical skill. And just like that, we've been promoted to senior officer. All we need to do now is maintain 4 friends and get our body skill up 1 more point, and we'll be one of the most powerful Sims to ever walk through Pleasant View. Not bad for someone who was literally homeless 20 days ago. You guys remember how that Sims 1 video ended? Well, joke's on you assholes, I bought a fire alarm and it saved my life. And just like that, all we've got to do now is make it through a few shifts at work and we'll be a commander in no time. Apparently, Broke Man was cranking that lever like crazy because he started a second fire. Luckily, the cache survived. Anyway, with that cache, I swapped out my old bed for one with all 5s, significantly increasing my sleep and comfort. Check out this bad boy. You can paint it and sell it for like 7 times the profit, considering it costs $800 to buy, and you can sell it for over $5,500. Well, our little Broke Man is growing up. He's officially an elder now, and free to retire. I think we'll just keep going a tad longer. He's finally made something of himself. What good would that be to climb the ladder only to jump off right before reaching the top? And just like that, Broke Man officially became a commander. All that's left for him now is to become an astronaut, but he may be a bit too old for that. Now that we're retired, Broke Man is eligible for a pension of 300 simoleons per day. More than enough to live on, but he's not quite done yet. It's time to enjoy the finer things in life, starting with his own hot rod. I gotta say, the retired life suits Broke Man. He's able to live his dream, fixing up cars whenever he wants and either selling them for massive profits or keeping them for himself and cruising around town. He's got his own in-home bar where he can run his own bottle service. Outside, you may catch him unwinding in his own personal hot springs. And if you're lucky, you may just catch him reliving the days of his youth, absolutely shredding on his own custom drum set. Thank you all so much for watching. The Sims 2 is one of my all-time favorite games, so getting to relive all of this has just been absolutely fantastic. There were so many little nuances I'd forgotten about that just brought back so much nostalgia, and I genuinely loved every minute of recording this. It's kinda crazy to go from The Sims 4 to this and realize just how shitty EA has been to such a fantastic franchise. I've got another Sims 2 video in the works currently, and by the time you all see this video, it'll probably already be up and scheduled for release, so keep an eye out for that. I've also got a Sims 2 Castaway video in the works, which, if we're being honest, was probably the first survival-style game I'd ever played, and certainly has had an impact as to the type of games I play now, so I'm excited to get to work on that too. Alright, if I don't stop myself here, I could gush about these games all day, so I'm gonna get out of here. Until next time, I appreciate you all, stay safe, and thanks for stopping by.